Okay.
All right, let's see. So it says we're live, and I think we are. So, hey, Nancy, it's good to see you.
Hey, Gary.
we've talked in the past. You know, we did some work a couple years ago for one of your ventures, and you and Don are just always hatching something over there.
We are, and one of these little hatchlings is going to grow into be a bird one day.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, let's talk a little bit about Nancy and Don. You want to talk a little bit about where you both are located and the two businesses that we're going to talk about today?
Sure. My husband and I are located in Appomattox, Virginia. We moved here from Pennsylvania about 5 years ago. And the way that story goes is we wanted to work in business together, and we began referring to that idea as a family business ministry. We didn't know exactly where it was going to be or what we were going to be doing, but that's what we always referred to it as, our family business ministry, because we did never want to create an environment where we couldn't be ourselves and talk about what we value most, and that is declaring the faithfulness of God to the next generation. So when we got to Appomattox, we found a piece of property. It was providentially located at the intersection of Church Street and Main Street. And so that's where our building is. And so Church and Main is a family business ministry. We're dedicated to a biblical worldview, restoring to the family the responsibilities that God says is ours, and faithfully stewarding the resources entrusted to our care. So that's sort of an educational type of thing. You know, we look to see, we have developed this, what we call our 3-2-1 approach. And it's something that over the years we recognize that we talk to our children this way, even the littlest kids, but it still serves us well as adults, this 3-2-1 concept of pursuing three objectives. That is to obey God, love people, and take care of things. We ask two questions. That is, what does God's word already say about this, and will I believe it? And then we practice one right answer, which is yes, Lord. And so we're trying, you know, that's our mindset. So now we're trying to do this blog, and we have this space, but that idea was just sort of set back, and it was like, that's who we are, that's why we do what we do, and that's the name of our business. Okay. So then we have this building. We live upstairs, and downstairs is this sweet, beautiful little venue, and our building is a 2-story industrial space. It was built in 1912. We've got the original hardwood floors, the original tin tile ceiling, real exposed brick, real plaster walls, and all these, you know, there's really cool stories.
Yeah, unique characters.
Yeah, we live right beside the railroad track, across from the depot, where this is Appomattox. Some people might say, what is Appomattox? Appomattox is where the General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant, signaling into the Civil War. So we have really unique history here. Yeah. And it's, you know, otherwise it's a quiet little town. We're right here at Church Street, Main Street, and the biggest deal in United States history. Yeah. And it's just this, you know, sleepy little quaint, you know, tiny little town. So, so the downstairs, let me get to the downstairs. We began marketing the downstairs and named it Venue 1848. 1848 is the address. And so we named it 1848 and began marketing the space for intimate weddings, special family celebrations, and small business events. So we've got this website for that. We've got a Instagram account for that. And Gary, you know, I think it's beautiful.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. It
Thanks.
is. It is.
Thanks. So, you know, we have people call and inquire, and you know, before COVID, we were getting a lot more inquiries, but it was people said it was too small. Okay, the venue was too small, and because most people think they want these big, you know, 100, 200, you know, 250 person guest list, and they're anticipating spending, you know, a lot of thousands of dollars, and we're just not that big. And so so in marketing, you know, I think that I'm supposed to be marketing for these weddings and, you know, stuff, because that's the idea that stuck in my head, and that's the vision that we've put forward. And so what we're finding is that the people that are really using the space, we have moms buying for graduation parties, baby showers, small fundraisers, you know, things like that. We have had, you know, some actually one wedding here since COVID, and that was with a couple that had looked at it previously, decided on a big venue. Their big venue canceled because of COVID, so they came over here because they had too much integrity to quarantine together without being married. So they didn't want to wait it out. I'm glad they didn't, because it's taken a whole lot longer than anybody anticipated.
Right. Yeah.
This is like the 6-month anniversary of our week quarantine.
Right. Yeah. Feels like 6 years now.
I know. So what's happened in the meantime, also, you know, while that's just sort of sitting there waiting for somebody to discover us, although folks in the industry say, look out, when they find you, your head's gonna spin, you know. So I trust that, you know, we have a very unique space. Between, I'm told that there's no other place like us between Roanoke and Richmond. That's a good 4-hour stretch.
Wow.
You know, 2 hours each direction.
Sure.
And so we really think we've got a little gem here. But what we've been using the space for in the meantime is what we begin to go back to the church and Main idea, and began hosting what we call community connections. And so it's like, we have this space and we're marketing for this customer, but we've really built a platform for ourselves to be able to say, you know, from the 3-2-1 perspective, what conversations are important to us? What conversations are important to our community? And let's attempt to put these into a biblical perspective, if nothing else, just to plant that little seed and say, you know, what's important to us, and why do we make the decisions that we do? So I really feel like I've gone to a bear hunt with a BB gun, you know. And so like, you know, like, I don't know, it's sort of all over the place.
Right. So, and typically when we do that, we can't find the bear either, you know.
Like right here.
Right. So out of so that's funny. Out of the two, so Venue 1848, when it comes to like profitable margins, that one has a particular opportunity, and there's several different services that you provide. Would you say which one of the ones between fundraising, family celebrations, small event, business events, and weddings, is there one of those that's the most profitable?
Well, we anticipate that the weddings, we think that the weddings would be the most profitable. We think,
Yeah.
you know,
And you
you know,
just haven't had enough of them yet to know.
we really haven't had enough of them to know, and we're really, still just really happy every time that we have something that different people say, "Oh, I didn't know this was here."
Yeah.
So that's really, that's really good. So
Yeah.
I think that the weddings and the venue does have the most potential to be profitable. But when do people get married? Saturdays. They fight over Saturdays, and then, so what do we do with the space the rest of the week? Then, it was like, okay, so then we go back to our church in Maine concept and say what's important there. So now we want to use it for homeschool and business type of development in our area, because it's really, sort of, there's people that still don't know how to use Facebook, much less, the Instagram or any marketing or, building a website and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of potential for the information and services that we can provide here. We just
Yeah.
figure out,
where to, yeah. Well, I think, yeah. And one of the things, I know that I really harp on is the need to niche down. You have all these opportunities, and that's when it begins to feel like the BB gun kind of with hunting for bears, because you have so many different opportunities and so many different directions that you can go that it becomes really difficult. You can drown in some of those opportunities because each one of those audiences requires a different set of thinking, and to find them is a completely different set of processes. And so to just be able to put your mind around, let's pick a target audience and let's really figure out how will we find them, and how will they find us, more importantly. So that can really begin to dissipate some of the overwhelm when it comes to the BB gun and shotgun mentality. How many weddings have you done since you guys decided to do them?
We've really only done one, and here's what happened. We just got our bathroom in what we call, in the industry, it's a warming kitchen. We just got that done in November, and then we launched our website and did a ribbon cutting in December.
Wow.
And we had this big open house planned for March, and guess what happened?
Oh boy.
I know, right?
But at the same time, you look at it and there is some unique opportunities, as you just said, for those people that have weddings and their venue has shut them down, and yet they still want to proceed and need a smaller solution. So there is some really unique opportunities in the market for the people that have canceled weddings, but could certainly shift or pivot over to a smaller venue because they want to proceed with it. The one that you had, you said that the couple had looked at it previously, and then they turned. How did they find you?
I think it was on my Instagram.
Okay. All right.
And they were also, I think they were also from Lynchburg. We're about 20 minutes from Lynchburg, which is where Liberty University, a lot of students are there. And there's a lot of students in Farmville too. There's lots of schools around here. There's probably, 4 or 5 colleges in the area.
And
they're really our target audience, right? Because they're the ones getting married.
Absolutely. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you guys currently doing anything to build awareness in the local colleges? Is there any material?
Well, most of my Instagram followers are female in Lynchburg between 24 and 35.
Okay. Have you guys looked at any of the local college newsletters and thought about purchasing maybe an ad space or something in
I hadn't
there?
thought about that. I hadn't thought about
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely some unique opportunity. What does it have you guys settled on a price point to rent the facility for a wedding?
Yeah.
And
So our smallest, we say our prices start at $1,500,
okay. And
and
that's for a full day and
no, that's for like 6 hours.
okay, 6 hours,
Mhm.
which is typical
Plenty-
weddings are. Yep,
yeah.
plenty of time. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. And what comes with that? That they get the facility.
Yes,
Oh,
we have a decor catalog, which is, just some things that we have that they can use, so they don't have to have everything hauled in, or they don't have to rent everything. And so that includes access to our decor catalog, all the standard features and amenities, which includes tables, chairs, house linens, and our references for our recommended vendors and things like that. So I'm also thinking that I may need to add more planning, in-house planning services.
mhm.
It to get a wedding planner in my area costs almost that much money. Again,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, and then you start buying food and stuff like that. And so, we have, but back to what does that include? We've got sound bar, we've got rolling bar cart, we've got a catering
You
corner.
got so they
We've
get the
got,
whole facility. I mean, essentially is theirs. Do they have you, talking to just wedding photographers over the years, and one thing that they observed was that the most profitable venues have a lot of add-on opportunities. So that would include things like the catering option, partnering with a local catering company. Have you guys done anything like that? Or
I don't have a particular preferred vendor for that. We've got some that we recommend, but I don't want to say this is, I hesitate to say this is my preferred vendor, because we haven't had enough real experience to say this is the vendor I prefer,
Sure.
And so I feel like I'm a little bit too early in the game to pick my favorite.
Sure. Now, is that something that maybe, you and Don could actually go and have a conversation with local catering companies and obviously sample what they're able to produce. And then at that point, you're actually just bringing them on as a contractor, as your a la carte service. So, one of the keys here is to increase the profitability of every wedding by offering some a la carte services, some things that they would have to go and try to find regardless. Another one would be like, obviously, a DJ. So looking for other services that they're going to need, and instead of maybe you pointing them to the preferred vendor, you actually subcontract them out and offer it on a menu, if you will, and say, these are other services that we provide. So it just increases the revenue per wedding, or at least the opportunity for those. Do you guys have any referral process or offers for, let's say, the last couple that got married there? Was there any offering for if they refer anybody they know, or if that person would get a gift certificate or something like that?
No, I hadn't thought about that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So each person that you provide a service to has I typically will look for 3 to 4 other micro conversions. And so I consider a micro conversion something as simple as leaving leaving a review to um, to venue 1848 and just saying, hey, will you leave us a review? Because that allows you to leverage that review for other potential prospects. That's a micro conversion. Another micro conversion would say something like, if you know anybody who's going to get married in the next year, we'd like to give them $100 gift card that you can give them. Now, you could say $100 off, but mentally, there's something psychologically different about actually getting a gift card. We've called them like gold tickets and actually printed them out on like a gold film paper and said, this is for anybody that you know that's going to get married. Give it to them. It's a $100 gift card toward our services, and we'll send you a complimentary something. You guys have baked before, right? Or you guys have worked with somebody that's baked or something?
We work with people that bake.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe it's a baking surprise or something you send to the couple.
Okay.
But there's typically numerous micro conversions. So another one would be to see if anybody in the wedding party could leave a review. So maybe on the back of the cards, maybe there's some material that you hand out to the guests as they leave to encourage them as well. And so that could be another micro conversion. And so you want to take each wedding participant, and increase the value and potential value of those people. Let's see. So leads right now, there's no current working like lead generating service that you're currently attempting, right?
No.
Okay. So I think first would be to look at obviously your college campuses. That's going to be some low hanging fruit. And if you guys just focus on weddings for now, you could really begin to drill down that whole process. So there's some logistics behind this that you're going to tweak as time goes on. And every time I look at the journey of a potential prospect, I look at the before, during, and after unit. The before units, how am I getting them? What's the interaction with when they call and inquire? What's my follow-up process? The during units, what actually transpires once they get here? How seamless can we make this to where it's not just a small facility, but it's a tight-knit, very organic and unique event for all parties that are involved. The after unit's really where we talk about the micro conversion. So making sure that I capitalize on every opportunity, and that's referrals, anything like that's on the micro side. So if you look at college campuses and you guys just begin to look at, maybe get a spreadsheet together and put all of those campuses on, how many students they have. And then what you want to do is you want to look at what kind of advertisement opportunities are available to you. And there's numerous ones. Some would be like a community paper or college paper or college newspaper that goes to all the students. And what you want to do is you want to create a unique offer or some way to track each one. Now, in this case, you're going to have people that call from distinctly different college campuses. So you're going to be able to know who's responding to what and where the greatest opportunities are. But a simple newsletter or advertisement spot, or you could even find something like a list broker who has all the addresses for all the college students. And they'll typically say, we can find everybody in these zip codes that's currently attending these colleges. And then you can send a postcard directly to their mailboxes. But right now is unique because some of them are home and some of them are not, so you're going to have to keep that in mind as you do this, but it's certainly an opportunity. There's other things you can do as well, would be like Facebook ads or something like that to begin to test them and drive those ads to anybody that likes those colleges and they live within that zip code. So that would be another opportunity. in terms of, as you're thinking through a wedding, what other, I guess, service providers locally are have access to people that are going to get married, but before they've chosen a venue?
Well, some of those are wedding planners, some of those are photographers. Um, those are the two that I think of first, you know.
Okay. What about like dress? Like, are they doing any like trial dress, like searching before they've picked a
You
venue?
know,
Or
sometimes they do, but typically I think they get a wedding planner or a venue first, because
okay,
sometimes the planner will help them choose the venue.
okay,
And a lot of times people just already kind of have a family photographer, you
gotcha.
know.
Yep.
Um,
Now, have you guys by chance taken a toll or created a list of every wedding planner within 4 hours of either direction?
I have recently got on some client management system called Honeybook, and it's for those type of industry creative solopreneur people. And
Sure.
so there's a good number. I say a good number of them, but I haven't done a specifically a poll. But here's the thing, you know, not every girl that gets a camera for Christmas is a photographer, right?
Right.
So not everybody that says, "Oh, I'm a wedding planner," which means
Mhm.
they help their girlfriend plan their
Right.
wedding,
Right.
you know, is a planner.
Hmm.
Um, so, you know, there's a lot of people that say they are, but
Right.
finding them that have
A, tra-
legitimate
a track record.
business
Yeah.
and experience with
Sure.
real customers
Yeah.
is that's another pony, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So, is there a way? Are there some ways to determine the ones that are more that seemingly are more viable? I'm thinking things like maybe they have an office, a years of experience, reviews maybe on Google or something like that that will begin to show which one of the, and the beautiful thing here is as you look at wedding planners, there's two things that are happening. The first thing is you're narrowing your criteria so you can really begin to focus on building really interesting relationships with
Mhm.
the wedding planners that seem to have the most viability, because you're getting rid of the ones that don't. So you only want to work with the ones that are legitimate and have a proven track record. So it could
Right.
start at something like 30 and then you end up with 5. But those
Mhm.
5, you can really begin to leverage and build relationship discourse that can begin to be a very quick route to your prospects. And
Okay.
so anytime you're narrowing that search and you're picking an audience, one of the first things you want to do is think through who already has my clients, who's already paid to acquire clients, who's already been in service in this industry for maybe twice as long as I have or 5 times as long as I have. And therefore, they're not competitive. They don't offer the same thing I have. But by leveraging that relationship, I instantly get exposure to the people that I'm wanting to invest in anyway.
Mhm.
And so if you can begin to unlock those relationships, um, you can avoid uh, or at least have a main source of leads without just looking at specific marketing opportunities. So like instead of just Facebook or sending an advertisement on the college newsletter, all of which I think are viable options. When you do have the opportunity to build that relationship with with a local service provider, it's a lot less work because they're literally handing you the leads.
Mhm.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, it
So
does. So
yeah,
I can imagine if I've identified this college and these people, and then that planner is also already over there. That one's like, that's no brainer.
That would be beautiful opportunity. Absolutely. Yeah, that would be beautiful. And so there's a couple ways you can do it. You can figure out how do we partner? How can you support one another? And so you can just call them up and say, we're looking for providers for the people that come here. Can maybe we have lunch? And you can really narrow your focus. Therefore, you can spend more very specific money acquiring and building a relationship opposed to just marketing yourself, right? So like you could take them to lunch and you can then, just let them know about the facility and then figure out a different type of like relationship where anybody that they send to you, they actually get some type of compensation for, and vice versa. There's some other things you can do as well. Another thing would be you could create your local 2020, 2021 wedding guide that you print out like a newsletter, and you can then go to some of these people, let them know. As I'm talking, it looks like it's froze up. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. So one of the things you could do, and so I often look for different ways that you can navigate the territory without just exposing that you have a service to provide. So what way can you add value to the conversation without just pitching the service and or venue? And so one way you could do that is you could create a 2020 wedding guide or a 2021 wedding guide for the local area that highlights things like wedding planners, places to buy your dress, and you can actually go to those venues, let them know that you're going to put that together, and you just like their information. That also gives you exposure to their facility, and say, I'm going to put this together, and you get the opportunity to be the front ad on the front cover and the back ad, and then by featuring these different service providers, you can then put it all together and take it to their facility and say, we'd like you to hand this out, and it's a wedding. We're taking it everywhere, and it just shows the different providers. We've featured you on it. Would you like to give it to now? And typically they'll do it if it's a local area and they want to show that they have that they've been featured in there as well. And so you can hand that out, or you can get a little rack and set it in there, and then you get free advertisement. And there are times where you might even get some sponsorships where they'll pay for the actual printing. You just give them a price and they actually end up covering the cost.
Okay. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that. What else?
Well, no, this is good. This is good. I think it comes down to really trying to find where that target audience is at, and understanding what they're already doing, what those people have already provided, and who already has your target audience. And so I think the hardest part is deciding on, out of all those services, which one to target. And I think you're right that weddings are actually going to be that thing. And so as you and Don just kind of narrow that focus and say, okay, we want to be the place that everybody knows as a wedding facility. Now, of course, there's questions to do with what to do with the facility, the rest of the week. But that becomes a lot easier to answer once you know that you have a full calendar of weddings, because there's, then it's more of a question of what do you want to provide rather than, what do we need to provide? And it just becomes more enjoyable at that point. But if you know that you have 3 months or 5 months booked out, you can really begin to look at that as anything you want, but the key is making sure that the main thing is actually facilitating the conversation, that you have predictable revenue from that one source that you can take and build the rest of the businesses off of. Because as you narrow down the process, you narrow down the before, during, and after unit of what happens before they find us, what happens as soon as they make the call, what happens during their time with us, and then what happens in the after unit after they've left, and how have we cared for them. You could even send a post congratulations thing with the gold gift card for somebody they know, as just a way to drill that down. So this whole process then can be repeated in essence in any other service that you provide. So as an example, if you're providing a service for family, so is he stretching over there?
Stretching over there. Hey y'all, that's my husband.
So
I have a third arm over there.
Yeah, that's right. So as you provide this for, let's say, celebrations, or family celebrations or office events, the whole entire process that you've built based off the weddings can then be transferred. The before, during, and after unit process in its raw form can be then transferred to those other services much more easier. Now, you'll need to change how those leads come in, where those target audiences are, how to partner with some of those other people. But the point is, when you drill down on a specific service, like weddings as a clear example, build the entire system that you can take in else.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does
Okay.
make sense. It does
Okay.
make sense.
Okay. So if it's more like now you have more of a sniper BB gun that you're taking to a squirrel fight, but to look for squirrels,
Right. That
Yeah,
would make a lot of difference to know what I'm looking at.
that's right.
My
That's right.
ammunition is can bring you down.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some of my thoughts. I think you have another. This is a unique opportunity in the sense that people are actually needing smaller venues.
Right.
And so all of the large ones are now out of the market. So this provides you guys absolute clarity and availability where other people can't. So all those facilities have gone away. All of your competition is gone. So in the time for you to build up rapport for what you do, this is actually a time that is hand delivered to you that's unique, that you'll never see again in your lifetime. Because now you guys can provide a service that nobody else can, not only in the sense that it's small, but it's one of the only facilities that can handle weddings, So I would say if you get involved in those college campuses any way you can right now is an absolutely phenomenal opportunity for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we covered a lot. I appreciate the time, and let's continue the conversation and see what you guys come up with, because there's a lot of creative elements too in terms of what you offer, how you write an ad. We'll be covering some of that in the group as well. But right now, I wouldn't overthink it. Just call up the college campuses, see what kind of advertisement publications that they have, and just try a few out and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you'll have to give me an update, and I'm going to keep up on you.
I will. And I appreciate what you're doing on here. It really does, break things down for some of us, like me, the technology and the bear, it seems like such a big bear, and I feel so like I just have such small tools and information to get there. So I appreciate what you're doing on your Grafted In. And
well, I thank you. And I think that's the whole point of it, is that business owners can do this, and I want them to embrace this. And when you pick a niche, it becomes a lot easier to do it, because you know where to find your audience and what to use then, rather than every tool is available to you, which one do you start with? So so I appreciate that, and I look forward to chatting more.
Yeah. Well, let me just say one more thing before we get off there. I really think that's a very important point for you to continue to remind us that we can do this, because nobody knows my business better than me. Yep. Nobody knows my space better than me. Nobody knows my community better than me. Yep. And, when I think of hiring a marketing guy or getting a marketing
Mhm.
guy to help me,
Mhm.
my thought was, this
Mhm.
stuff, you do it,
Mhm.
but you can't do for me, and
What
you
you
don't
could do. Yeah.
know
Yeah.
these things the way the business owners do. So that's a
Yeah.
really important thing for you to continue to remind us about.
And in addition to that, and I appreciate that. In addition to that, if you do hire somebody for a specific thing that they're really good at, I this will allow business owners to know how to keep them accountable. And it really comes back
Yeah.
to tracking your offers. So if they're going to do an
Okay.
offer, you want to know you want to add as many return on investment marketing channels as possible, and you either can do them or give you the power to hand them off to somebody knowing what to expect of them. So it's a multifaceted opportunity, because at the end of the day, uh, you're absolutely right. You're going to be the marketer of the thing you do better than anybody else, and so you're going to be able to hold people accountable in a way that nobody else can. So I appreciate it, and I hope that we can continue to facilitate these conversations so you can do this, and let's see what happens here.
Thanks. I'll keep you posted.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Don. Thank you. Bye.